Hey guys, mystery boxes are fun, but sometimes the mystery part goes a little too far. Some kind of pop and some random t-shirt, but who knows what else. Heck, is the rest of the stuff even worth it? If you want a box that caters more to your liking, try Zanini Box. Pins, trading cards. That's it. No cheap add-ons or fillers. Just pins and cards that are movie, video game, and comic book themed. With 7 choices of subscriptions, you can customize your experience with a little less mystery and a lot more of what you're paying for. Visit zaninibox.com to customize your subscription now, and you can enter the code CBU20 to take an extra 20% off your entire order and let them know that Professor Bill sent you.
Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. And as usual, I brought a chillmonger.
And San Diego Comic-Con brought Comic-Con to your home.
Well, this is true. This is true.
We'll talk that briefly because it wasn't very eventful. We'll talk Batwoman. We're going Darth Maul and Ray Park. We're going to talk about the October previews. But let's begin, not with headcanon, but Nick Cannon.
A little bit different, right? Okay, so I have received a little criticism. Have you received any criticism on that one?
Not that I know of, but maybe.
So I'm supposed to be the champion of justice here. Okay, fine. So be it. I will be the Justice League member. I will step forward and I will take the bullets for everybody. Anyway, there was some questions about Nick Cannon being a racist and whatnot. Look, we talked about Nick Cannon a little bit. I didn't want to really talk about him a whole lot in the previous episode, but apparently we have to address it a little bit. Look, I fully believe that Nick Cannon is a racist. Okay, Nick Cannon has been on some racist stuff for the past 5 years at least, minimum. All right. That being said, he's not the only racist out there. He's not even remotely close to the only racist out there. I'm not one of those people who believe that only white people can be racist or that black people can't be racist. That's just not who I am. Racism is racism. If you believe that your race is superior to another person's race just because of race, you are a racist. By definition, that is what racism means. All right.
And that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. There's institutional racism too. But that's not racism. That's a part of racism. That's not the entirety of racism. But institutional racism in this part is also evident because here's racist Nick Cannon, who says something that was racist against the white people, against Jewish people, against whatever. Hey, it is what it is. But then Viacom decides to fire him and take his properties because, intellectual property, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. How many other people did they do that to? Not a whole lot. So here's a black racist says something racist and suddenly he's canceled. He's fired. He's done. There goes this guy's livelihood. Can he even collect royalties off of this anymore? Maybe, whatever. But Wild 'N Out was his baby. And when you think about it, I actually saw I watched Blurred Without Fear recently was talking about it on Saturday. He made a really good point that this man gave his childhood to this company, which is true. Since he was 14 years old, he's done movies, TV shows, whatever to this company. And because now all of a sudden he's having just a really dumb moment in his life, 5-year-long moment, whatever. Now he's just fired completely. There's no oh, we're going to fine you, bro. You need to check yourself. Maybe they did that behind the scenes. I don't know. But sometimes you make those things public. Meanwhile, what happened? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense in this modern world. The whole canceling or you're fired or you're done. We're done with you, whatever. I'm done with it.
I'd like to see an incident where there was a white actor, comedian, whatever his genre is, whenever a white guy did exactly what he did and got different, maybe more favorable of an outcome. If you can bring that and I can match it side by side with the Nick Cannon situation, then I can say there's a preference that they're showing to one, but not the other.
Well, over a stupid tweet, they fired, not a tweet, over a bunch of tweets from 10 years ago, they went and fired, what's his name? James Gunn, a different kind of Cannon. Right? A gun. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's people with firearms in their names.
Yeah, Viacom CBS didn't do that one, but
yeah, that was Disney. Oh, you're saying Viacom specifically? Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a good question. For me, I just look at it as, look, if we're gonna, what's his name? there are a bunch of Viacom, whatever, all these companies. The Harvey Weinstein movies, have they been completely taken down? They took down, like, what was it, Sound of Music, or the Civil War one?
That's
What
weird.
was,
I don't think you should take any of them down. He's not the only guy who contributed to that film.
yeah, no. Oh, for crying out loud. The damn it, Scarlet. I don't give a damn,
Yeah.
Scarlet. Gone with the Wind, that one. They took that down from Disney because, oh my God, saying there's some, they incorporate slave culture in there. Yeah, because that's when the movie was made. That's when the book was written. Saying, like, that's a thing. It happened. You don't try and hide your past. You face it head on. Hey, look, we used to do these things. You know what I'm saying? So face it and learn from it.
I don't
learn
think,
the proper lessons from it, at least.
so. I haven't seen the movie Gone with the Wind, but
Me neither.
it sound. Well, then what the hell are we talking about? It depending on how they depicted the slaves will depend on whether I think it's a good idea or a bad idea not to air it anymore.
Well, now, unless you own the DVD, apparently there's no way to figure it out. They took it down.
Well, then maybe they think it's wrong, and it's a movie I haven't seen, so I'll just go with Disney's who have seen it.
But you know what? They got rid of To Kill a Mockingbird from a lot of schools now, which is insane to me.
With the Hunger Games?
No. To Kill a Mockingbird, not the Mockingjay thing or whatever that stuff was.
Is that the Mark Twain thing you were talking about?
No. Very different.
Okay, sorry.
Harper Lee. This is actually one of my favorite books, and I was introduced to this book in high school, junior year, and it was an amazing book. I got teary-eyed when I read it.
Nice.
There's scenes in there where you see people talking, or there's this black guy back during the it wasn't during slavery times. It was immediately after slavery times, but there was still a segregation. I think this was in Alabama, but it was in one of the southern states, and there was this black guy that was accused of rape, and it's like, holy crap, dude! Like the community came against him, and the one white lawyer, I know his name, Atticus Finch, he has to prove that this man didn't do it, and the proof is pretty obvious, and yet I don't want to spoil the book because it's an amazing book.
Spoil.
It was also I'm not going to, and it was also a movie. It was in black and white. And chill, I'm telling you,
No,
go out and get
just
this
spoil
movie.
it. Black and white. No.
I'm not going to do it. I'm promising you, this is an amazing book. It's an amazing movie. I would watch it again in a heartbeat. It was that good. My wife would sit and watch it with me again because, like, it was really good. That being said, you're probably just going to wiki that up later, but whatever. The idea is it was really amazing, but it's like, oh, but they're depicting black people in this horrible, wretched state. Yeah, because they were in a horrible, wretched state. And this is acknowledging that. You don't just it's like, we don't like whitewashing, but now we're okay with the idea of washing away any of the bad stuff that we did. Well, isn't that also a form of whitewashing then?
In the book, does it show you, the reader, that what's happening to him is bad?
100%.
I'm okay with that then.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was an amazing story, and it should definitely be told. But things that may be hurtful to some people, I don't care. Did you see just recently they had it was up here in Canada. It was down in Hamilton. One of my favorite Toys R Us's is there. Some people went and they spray painted on, I didn't even know this thing existed there. There's an SS, an actual Hitler, a Nazi monument down there, a statue. And somebody spray painted in orange spray paint or something like that, Hitler or Nazi monument. That's where they just wrote Nazi monument or something like that. And it's being deemed by the police, the Hamilton police, as a hate crime.
I think it counts as a hate crime. You hate it.
Here's
it's
the
a
thing.
crime to spray paint.
Here's the thing. Hate crimes are supposed to protect people. So who exactly are we trying to protect here? If you have if you do a hate crime or hate speech against Jewish people, there actually are Jewish people living amongst the community, and they're a productive part of community. If you do a hate crime against black people, they're a productive, and they really exist nowadays. So are we saying that there are Nazis in Hamilton and we're trying to protect them? Is that the argument that we're making? So we're protecting a hate group because the only purpose of this was as a hate group. So, like, it's such a convoluted thing where you want to think, well, freedom of speech.
Yeah, is there a law that covers it? That's not called the hate crime law?
It's funny that of all the things that we're going to throw up as a hate crime and broadcast out, that's one of the things that we're
But
going
it
to
is. I hate Nazis, and therefore
So
I didn't do this, but
I
I
know
spray painted on the thing. I don't even live in Hamilton. It wasn't me, but I
that
get
could
it.
have
It's
very well been me doing it because,
mm.
yeah, I hate Nazis and
So
I
then
am
it's a hate
intolerant
crime.
towards
And
Nazis.
it's a crime to vandalize.
No,
Therefore, it's a hate crime. Just I
now
don't
you're
care
arguing
if
semantics. I'm totally like
yeah,
this is
but
an
that's what
actual law. Okay, where's
yeah
Sterling? Where's Sterling? We got
yeah
to bring
right.
Sterling in this. No, like the idea is like calling something a hate crime doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually a hate crime. Nazis are not a protected group. You understand what I'm saying? It's
They're
not like,
not a
oh, we have to.
protected group.
No, they're not. Here's a question. Here's a
Yeah,
question that I want you to think about.
but they kind of are. If you look what happened in Charlottesville.
Yeah, exactly. But this is Canada. We're supposed to be better here, right? So here's a big question for you, right? And we're supposed to get back on comics pretty quick. But here's an honest question for you. Should fascism be a form of protected speech?
I'm not even sure what fascism is, but as long as it's speech, I'm good with speech.
Now
I'm
let's take
always
it a
okay
step
with just
further.
bounce.
But let's take it a step further, as philosophers would look at it as, and even ethics professors, because ethics professors will typically argue that no, it should not be protected speech.
Uh-huh.
Fascism, as soon as you give them a platform, they get bigger, 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 and then once they actually take some form of power, hold on, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to
Apply.
limit everybody's free speech, because that is the number one tenet or one of the number one tenets of fascism. So if you protect the speech of someone who's trying to prevent you from free speech, is that ethical? Is that intelligent even? And it's really not.
No, I'm good with the Wild West when everyone's allowed to say whatever they want. And I'm
Okay.
allowed to fire you because I'm Viacom CBS.
When you take it a certain, when you apply that to some people and not others, it sets
No,
a
apply it to
character
everybody. Yeah,
profile. Yeah.
there should be no hypocrisy.
There you go. In which case, it's not really free speech. We're saying no, apply it to everybody, not to who you feel like applying it to. Anyway, I just wanted to open that up. Yes, I do believe that Nick Cannon is a racist. Is he salvageable? I guess. I don't know. People seem to get
Yeah, I
crazy
saw him
when they get older.
apologize, and I'm like
Just look
so
at
good.
Kanye.
Huh?
People are still wondering. People are still surprised today that Kanye's crazy. It's like, I'm sorry. The last intelligent thing I remember this guy saying, besides the Gold Digger song and George Bush hates black people, was everything after that was crazy. Everything afterwards was crazy. I guess since his mom died, and God rest her soul, but God save this man's soul, because this guy is a lunatic. He's a freaking lunatic.
But a creative genius.
He's a creative genius. Oh, he's basically an idiot savant. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's freaking mentally handicapped, but he's really good at this
Wow.
one thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, anybody who's heard this guy just talking, like when you go to one of his concerts, and then he always does it where he'll stop the concert and just start talking to the audience for a bit. It's like, yeah, this man's crazy. He's viable crazy. Legit. On the word, he's crazy. This man's lost it. So yeah, anyway. We're going to talk about some comic book stuff, right?
Yeah, I want to get my clear thoughts out on Nick Cannon, though. I was just
Oh,
saying that
good.
I saw him apologize, and therefore I will give him a second opportunity to write, because he talked to a member of the Jewish community who understood his faith and had him on his podcast. They talked it out. That's what you're supposed to do. This isn't some lost cause. This is not the president of the United States who just blurts out things for the sake of, hey, I can get these guys on my side if I call it the Chinese virus because they hate China. Hatred is going to unite us. That kind of stuff. This is Nick Cannon saying, I did wrong. I will talk to who I did wrong to. Like that's what we're supposed to do. And so I don't think Nick Cannon is racist. I know he said racist things. Maybe he is even racist, but maybe he's not racist anymore after talking with the guy and doing what looks like the right thing since then. The DC streaming service has changed the annual membership. I think HBO Max has everything to do with this.
Everything. 100%. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, how more stuff has been leaving DC Universe. Like at this point, oops, I'm on the wrong page. At this point, Doom Patrol is now on HBO Max. Stargirl is a CW show. Like these things will also show over here at DC streaming service. But something that just happened this week is that DC streaming service is no longer taking yearly memberships. Memberships are now month by month.
Tick,
And
tick.
Yeah, and we talked about this, how they said that, everything's been leaving, but we're still, promoting and whatever. It's like, hey, you know what? We figure we've got at least another year left because of the contracts that we have. So, and now all of a sudden this week, no longer taking yearly memberships.
In 11 months, it's no longer going to exist.
Yeah. So DC streaming service, what should never have been. It was something like, that was a Led Zeppelin. What is and what should never be. That's a Zeppelin song.
Young Justice was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know if people were as excited for it as, back in the day. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they had a long ass break in between.
Yeah, they did the first 2 seasons, then they gave, I think, 2 more seasons.
I think that Clone Wars did something like that, where there was a little bit of a break, but the streaming numbers on Netflix showed them that this is worth bringing back. There is an audience for it, and even more fans for it. Yeah. But DC they took a long ass break for Young Justice. I like Young Justice more than I like the Marvel kind of, what was it called? Secret Warriors? The new...
Yeah.
Those were lame. Avengers Assemble... Yeah, from the little bit that I did see from that cartoon, that was a cool one.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah, I loved that show. Wow, that was really good. They portrayed Doctor Doom. They portrayed Captain America. They portrayed pretty much everybody spot on. They had good writers there. Yeah, the Skrulls. Yeah, it was really
and Ms.
good.
Marvel showed up, and Black Panther showed up.
Yeah,
there was
even
the
Guardian showed up.
There was a line where she's like, where Kamala goes, "We're the all new, all different Avengers." I'm like, that was so forced.
Yeah, he's like, that was forced. that was written in specific. I know who wrote that one in. Like, how you doing over there in AWA Comics there, Axel? He's actually doing really good. But
well, Ms. Marvel has the.
That was something we forgot to mention last week. Is the Bad Batch coming to Disney Plus streaming services pretty soon? That was actually the image that I used. We were both Bad Batch clones, but we forgot to actually talk about that last week. But so Bad Batch is coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah, something they're continuing from the first 7 episodes of this new Clone Wars season. I'm up for it, man. Yeah. Anything to continue Rex and all of them guys, and it's good to know the voice actors will still have a job.
Yeah. Plus, you were just talking about Ms. Marvel. You know that they're about to start filming for Ms. Marvel pretty soon.
You know what? Disney Plus is a godsend.
Yeah.
Knowing that we're not going to have movies in theaters sucks. Knowing that Disney Plus has a way to... It's not VOD, is it? What would you call it?
It's not video on demand, no. But it's just a streaming service.
Yeah, but it's canon MCU coming to my home. Oh, yeah, go ahead, guys. So everyone film your stuff. Moon Knight, let's get some Hawkeye. Let's create more Disney Plus shows just because we know the theaters are going to be closed. I don't know how long, but we know it's going to be long. And boom. You want to give me something on Disney Plus? I'll take it on Disney Plus. I'm not going to look at it as secondary.
100%. So there is a 3-month delay. But since they are talking about bringing or about starting to shoot Ms. Marvel pretty soon, that means that it is, for the most part, completely written. The only thing that's left to do now is to cast. Or have they already cast? Because they've already said, we're going to be down in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where a lot of the Marvel movies have been filmed.
Pinewood Studios, right?
I believe that's the correct studio, yeah. But they did say that Kamala is actually set to debut someplace else first. So where? Will it be in WandaVision? Will it be in the new Inhumans that they were talking about making?
Yeah, who said that?
Oh no, that's the industry rumor that's going around right now. Uh-huh. So not like, one site or a couple of sites reporting at each other and whatnot. No, that's actually the word that's coming down from Disney Plus. Like you see that everywhere, that they're saying, people within, and I don't have their names, but people have been saying, because that's not what I was here to report on right now. But people have been saying, no, Ms. Marvel is right now set to debut someplace else, and then she'll show up in her own TV series.
If they film it now, then I can expect the show in 2021?
Well, again, yes, it would technically be in 2021, but again, there is that 3-month delay on shooting. So
3 months from July, it's still year 2020. So let's just say 2022. But what film?
2021.
Then what film comes out in 2021 that she has?
It doesn't have to be a film. It would probably be another Disney streaming service. That's what the
Loki,
suggestions are
WandaVision, and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But there could be other ones too, because they are still talking about doing She-Hulk, right? They are still talking about doing the Riri Williams one, the Iron Heart. They are talking about doing Moon Knight.
Moon Knight was actually announced. She-Hulk was actually announced. The Iron Heart one was a scoop that came out, which unverified.
That wasn't announced? Oh no.
Not by Disney.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Thank you for that correction. But yeah,
I think the ones that they talk about might come out first, but none of them have anything to do with Inhumans.
Well, if you're a lawyer, namely She-Hulk, you never know what case might show up on your desk.
Yeah.
Plus, she's from Jersey City, man. Us Jersey folk get in trouble all the time.
Yeah, I'm up for Ms. Marvel. That's like something I'm really interested in. I wonder how old they will cast, though. Because, like, Ms. Marvel's been like a 15-year-old since she debuted in 2014. All of her stories are stories of 15-year-olds.
So let's debut her as a 15-year-old.
No. Let's debut her as a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, something younger than that. Because there's going to come an age where her stories are going to be irrelevant.
Okay, I can see that fine.
She'll age. In 5 years, she's going to be 20 if we cast a 15-year-old. And how are you going to do a 20-year-old in school? They do that with Peter Parker, but he looks young.
That's a good point. Okay. CGI. If they can make freaking Michael Douglas look young, they could do it with. Anyway, I hear you, though.
Yeah. You brought up lawyers, and we're talking Ms. Marvel. I'm interested in the courtroom thing with Riri Williams. That's coming out on your channel on Sunday. Everyone check that out. How long is the video?
I think it's a little less than an hour. And I've got a surprise showing in there. It's not just is Riri Williams a thief. There's a surprise in there.
I made a bet that Kamala is going to be still in bed by page 2, and then she'll wake up out of her coma in the new Ms. Marvel book.
Oh, nice.
Which is coming out because Outlawed is coming out, except for I looked at the October previews. So the books that were getting the most vitriol, New Warriors and Children of the Atom, both will not receive release dates in the month of October. If Champions comes out on like the final week of October, then maybe you could say New Warriors comes out on the first week of November. The first week of October is when Champions comes out.
Yeah.
It looks bad. It appears that Outlawed New Warriors books are not coming out. It appears that the hatred and all the laughter has played an effect on Marvel.
Vitriol is the perfect word for it. And there might come a time when you're going to have to say, I think probably by this time next month, you might have to say Bill was right. Because, the reporting was that has been canceled. That they said, okay, we're not going to put that that comic book out. So, yeah.
Children of the Atom, that had the red highlight in those books as if it was going to be important.
Yeah.
How important could it be if it's not even coming out?
Yeah, if they're taking that out, that says a lot. Because as it stands, I've been doing my reviews of the Dawn of X stuff, and I'm not excited at all for the Ten of Swords, X of Swords stuff that they're doing. So I'm on the fence about even getting into Ten of Swords. And you need to read all the stuff that came before. This is also something where Bill was right.
Why did you say before?
Because we talked about it before, and you said, no, you're not going to have to do it like that. It is going to be
something. I'm still saying
where,
that.
Okay, but you're wrong. They've actually already reported that, no, you have to know what's going, because there are going to be the regular books. They're not going to stop their storylines just to start doing this storyline instead.
So when I read Cable number 3, which is coming out, it also happens to be chapter 6 of Ten of Swords.
Yes.
You're telling me if I didn't read Cable 1 and Cable 2, then I'll be out of the loop?
Yes. 100% yes, you will be out of the loop. Yeah, that's the way that it's been reported.
Now, my mindset was Messiah Complex, Second Coming, those things where we had books like X Factor, New X-Men, no adjective, and then Uncanny X-Men. And every week a new one would come out, and they told like an 8-part story, and that was the event. Even if you weren't reading the X Factor story and knew what was going on in Mutant Town in New York, like you still got this story. If you're saying otherwise, then that's a bad idea. See, that's the thing. I committed to unsubscribe to every single one of those X books for September. When I'm doing my October previews and I give my comic book retailer my subscriptions, I don't think I'm going to include any of the X-Men books.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be with you on that. It's not something I want to do, but I'm going to give the first couple a try and see how it is. Probably.
If it's like that, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not excited for it. I'm actually unexcited for it. So excited.
That probably explains why they're putting out like 2 books per week, because this just happens to be these guys over here, and this happens to be, you know, the Hellions and the Marauders. They've got their thing happening in X of Swords. They've got their thing happening. Maybe that's why.
We just got finished talking not too long ago, not too many weeks ago, about Empire, how 19 books are going to be just gone, tie-ins, and there's only going to be 21 books coming out. That's, mind you, that's 21 books with the 1 forward, the 2 previews, the 6 main books, and the 2 afterward books. That's 6, 8, 10, 11. So that's 11 main books that you essentially have to read. And then the other 10 are just tie-ins. And then 19 tie-ins have just been eradicated from the face of the earth. It's like that. And it was such a quick cut that when you looked at the most recent, I think it was issue number 6 or 8, whatever, of Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda, they still advertise that, hey, the next book is going to be, well, basically this book that's not coming out anymore, a tie-in, and it's not going to exist anymore. So it was such a last-minute decision.
I don't blame them, of course, because of the whole crisis that we're living through. I can't be too mad at them, but it does show me, it does exhibit just how important the tie-in comics for events actually are.
Exactly. And that's something I can blame them for.
Yes. You blame them for the Immortal Hulk. Oh, sorry, did I say Immortal Hulk? I meant Miles Morales' Absolute Carnage stuff. How it just didn't line up with the story.
Did not. I also mentioned how some of the Venom books were just repeats of what's been happening in the Absolute Carnage event. It's like that. There were at least 2 books of Venom that were tie-ins for, and all they were repeats. It's like, you're not even living your own story. If I want to read Venom, I could save my money on these 2 issues of Venom and just read the Absolute Carnage. So what was the point of that? Yeah,
when you're reading an event that happens to do with the main character, you think it would be important. Not really.
You'd think, not just a recap.
How was Thor for War of the Realms? Was it like that also, or did it actually add stuff?
It technically added stuff, but it really didn't.
It dealt with Odin's brother, didn't it?
Superficial. Yeah. The serpent. It dealt with him, but it was also Thor going to, like sitting down and having a conversation with his dad. Finally, it was also Thor hanging out with Hela and Thanos coming back and saying, "Hey, what's going on? I'm not going to help you out." And Hela's saying, "But you promised in another Jason Aaron book." Jason Aaron's writing this book and another Jason Aaron book, The Unworthy Thor, the 5 issues or so of that you were going to help me out. He's like, "Okay, fine." He turns around and just zap and kills one of the little monsters that comes after. Says, "See, I helped you. Bye." And then leaves. And it's like, there was the big kiss and all this stuff. And you literally, like you figuratively just pulled down your pants and took a dump over everything, including all the readers, that there was supposed to be this big thing that because I got excited for that. I'm like, he's dropped Mistress Death and picked up a different, he picked up a Death Lord / Hell Lord in the form of Hela. Holy crap. This is wild. This could tie into the MCU. This is big. Jason Aaron's a genius. And he comes along. He's like, "Screw you and your moms." And then he just walks out. I'm like, F Jason Aaron. I can't believe he did that. He gave me a mushroom tat on my forehead. How dare he? That's just messed up.
Yeah. That poop reference is the closest we're going to get to an Amber Heard comment, but we will continue the tradition of talking about Ray Fisher.
Oh, jeez, Ray Fisher. Okay. So, loves me some Ray Fisher, man. I loves me some Ray Fisher.
How do you love Wayne Nemherd?
Yeah, well, Wayne Nemherd is actually Ray Fisher's barber. And this may seem like it's a dumb story, but no, actually think about this. This is cool. So, Fisher's barber for Justice League, Wayne Nemherd, worked the whole 8 months of filming, and for all of the he was there for all of the reshoots. Fisher says for the Justice League movie, and that was when Zack Snyder was there, and that's when Joss Whedon was there as well. Nemherd, according to Fisher, was likely the only black man to ever work in the hair and makeup trailers. Yet somehow his name was not on the credits. Zack Snyder promised that, hey, when I do my my Zack Snyder cut for Justice League's Zack Snyder's Justice League, his name will be in the trailer or the trailers, yeah, whatever. Go ahead. What?
He made it sound like his name will be the first name on the credits.
Right? You know what? Honestly, that would actually be kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? That would be a cool, like, almost be like an in your face, but just at the end, that would be I don't know. That'd be a bit much. That'd be a little bit of pandering, whatever. Just have his name in the freaking things. He's one of the people who was there. For crying out loud, they've got the caterers in there. Why don't you also put the guy who did hair design?
Yeah, in the movie poster for episode 9, they had Carrie Fisher as the first name of the cast.
Yeah, that was more of an honorary thing. Whatever. Honestly, I don't care. As long as his name, if he did work on there, then he deserves to be in there. And that's just all there is to it. So, you know what? For the sake of Ray Fisher and for Wayne Nemhard, if you are ever in the UK, go visit Extreme Cuts on St. Albans Street. And boom, tell him that Professor Bill sent you. So, yeah. 'Cause I'm telling you, next time I'm in the UK, I'm definitely stopping in there. But like, hey, you cut white hair? That's the first thing you got to say whenever you walk into somebody else's barbershop. You know what I'm saying? I've been in black barbershops before. We're walking. I was like, hey, what's going on? It's like, I don't think I can cut your hair. I was like, you don't think you can cut my hair? It's just hair. It's like, I don't think I can cut your hair. I was like, okay, I'm going to leave before you mess it up. I just wanted you to take a number 1 razor and just go over it. Is that cool? That actually happened one time also. I'm like, you just do that? Like, oh, yeah, that I could do.
That's like the only haircut I ever get.
Really?
Everything is the same level. Just cut me.
Oh. Wait, but do you actually take a number 1 razor to it?
Number 1. I think it's number 2. I think number 2 is what.
Number 2, so it's like about half an inch.
Yeah, it's been a while though.
So, yeah, I was gonna say it's been a couple days. It's been a minute.
I'm thinking of getting a haircut eventually, though. I don't know.
Don't hurt yourself.
I want to be able to look at photos and be like, that was me at this period in my life, and hair helps with that.
It does. Does it get in your way? Does it bother you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my long hair bothered the crap out of me, man. I hated it. I started hating it. I'm like, dude, just let it grow another 2 inches or so that it's definitely good for, because I was just donating my hair for the third time. Said. What?
She said to let it grow a couple of inches or 2.
Unbelievable. Okay, I don't want to hear about your love life. As far as mine, I'm good.
We can move along to Star Wars Episode 9.
Oh, man, another name. So Colin Trevorrow, which you actually remembered his name when I brought him up right before we started, which is, good on you, man. But he was the original director of Star Wars Episode 9. Was that Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, he was going to call it something else. But I remember seeing his script get read on YouTube by, what's his name? James Burnett? What's his name? The guy who co-hosts with John Campea? James Meyer Burnett? Robert Meyer. Robert.
Yeah, Robert Meyer Burnett, whatever. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he did a 2-hour live stream a few months back, and he's just talking about how it's going to begin with Rey, Pin, and Poe hijacking a Star Destroyer, and now the good guys finally have one, and it was this cool, epic. It was nice, but unfortunately, creative differences. Kathleen Kennedy, and that's not happening. Wow,
it was because of creative differences. He said it felt traumatic. So this is interesting that J.J. Abrams had exactly 2 years before the time that he put that movie out, because Episode 9 released on the 20th of December, 2019. Yeah, that recently ago, right? And Colin Trevorrow left on September of 2017. So 2 years and 2 months later, after the original director, all the script and everything is gone, J.J. Abrams has to come up. Well, first off, they had to figure out who they were going to get. Maybe they did that first. They'd be smart if they did. Either way, he had to put the entire film and have it released 2 years, 2 months after the first director left. That's wild.
And that explains why the Spider-Man comic has been delayed. JJ's writing and directing.
You're right. And his son.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I forgot we haven't seen the end of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Issue number 4 is coming out, I think, in September.
And it's supposed to be 5 issues, right?
Yeah, so coming up to the release of Episode 9 of Star Wars, he should have been working on the comic. However, they were still doing reshoots, and that was taking a lot of his time.
Wow. And I'm a very different kind of beast. I don't look at it as, hey, I'll write a comic book, see if it sells, and then I'll make another one. Nah, I'm making a whole story, dude. I'm going to make like the first 10, 20 issues, whatever, 10, 15 at least issues, and then I'll put out the first one. If you don't like it, what did I really waste? I'll rehash it. You know what I'm saying? Nah.
Now, he only had 2 years to make the movie. Does that
Mhm.
make that impressive, or are you giving him...
I think it does. I think it really does. I'm impressed because like it's not just the idea of filming and everything. He had to write the thing because, as you just acknowledged, it's a brand new script.
Yeah, but it doesn't take you 2 years, or 1 year, I guess. 1 year until they start filming to write a script.
I don't know. How long does it take you? Because I imagine it would
I
take
could
me
do
a
that.
while. Really?
I could write a script in 1 week, at least a rough copy of the script, work out all the kinks in the second week. It's Star Wars.
Please do. You know what? Let's do a contest. Let's have it so that next week we both make a script for a Star Wars movie.
I actually did that on a YouTube video before episode 9 came out. I just talked about what I would do to fix it. It involved plants.
Oh, writing the script is entirely different. I wrote my first comic book script for the Top Cow contest for the Darkness.
And did it take you a year?
Holy crap! No, I did it in 3 weeks, and there's or less than 3 weeks, and there's a reason why I lost. It's
Well, he
also
had a
only
year.
a 20-page comic book as opposed to a 2-hour whatever movie.
Yeah.
Like for a big company, mind you. So like writing in script format is so hard because you're not just writing, oh, this is what'll happen. This will happen. You got to write dialogue. You got to write what in general they're going to be wearing, where they're going to be doing this, that, and the other thing. And then other people have to try and match that stuff. The writer does everything.
Not true. Not in this case. He was copying episode 5 in the first half of the movie, and he was copying episode 6 in the second half of his movie.
He's and making it tie in with his original one and still at least incorporating something in from the most recent. So I hear you, but copying is not tracing. When I used to draw, I'd go and sit in a park and draw this tree and a landscape and stuff like that. That's copying. That didn't take a couple minutes. Sometimes I'd take more than one day to do that.
This is me not giving him credit at all for
Wow.
2 years of making a movie.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Batman or Batwoman season 1 Blu-ray. That's coming out.
Yeah. So season 1 is finally has a release date. It's going to be the 14th of August on Blu-ray. The really interesting part of this is that there's going to be a bonus disc in there with all 5 episodes of the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Nice.
So if you didn't buy that DVD, I think that they put out a DVD of just that. But if you didn't buy that, you can buy the Batwoman, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're golden. You got everything. So the original Ruby Rose Batwoman, plus all 5 episodes of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's nice if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah. I might consider it. I don't know. Probably
You
not.
into the New
I don't know where I'll
Mutants?
find time. New Mutants? What? Is this some kind of a TV show or something?
So on August 28th, allegedly, there's a film that will come out in theaters. Now, movies have been delayed, but for some reason they are sticking to this August 28th date. Movies will be some theaters will still be open, and they're gonna have New Mutants to show. And I think people are gonna show up. I'm gonna show up on August 28th if it's available.
Oh, if it's available. That's the thing. But is that really how you want to release something where it's like, 30 cinemas are going to show my, movie. So that's going to be my opening weekend. It was $5. You're saying, or whatever, $500.
Opening weekend for that theater, but then when other theaters open up and they're looking for movies to show,
opening weekend is opening weekend.
That's definitely true, and people will be interested and show up. But then when the movie starts being available in other cities, like let's say it's not showing in Detroit, but it showed in Chicago, when it's the Detroit people's first chance to see it, they're gonna show up for New Mutants because there's gonna be no other.
Word of mouth has already gotten out. I'm sorry.
So
I know I
say
cut
it
you off
sucks.
on that. I'm sorry. No, I'm saying I'm sorry. I know I cut you off, and I apologize for cutting you off. But I'm thinking back to like all the movies that we've seen before. That's not the way that it's done. It's an open release or it's not a release. You could do a soft one, like here's the premiere with select fans and blah blah blah, just to see what the interest is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no. They do a full release. There's domestic and there's overseas. Domestic meaning American, and then overseas. That's what they do. because that's how the box office is grossed. That's how they actually check that. So if you have a soft one, then one, you have like, oh, it did only, $500 in its opening weekend. It's automatically going to be declared a failure. What if it's a really good movie? Then more people will show up.
Right.
What if it's a bad movie? Less people will show up.
Right.
So you always want that buffer. Like case in point, I'm going to refer back to, we were just talking some Zack Snyder. Let's look at Batman v Superman, right? When that first hit the theaters, that broke every record in the world for people going to see a superhero movie. Holy crap, nobody expected that. But so it broke records. It also broke records the next week when people said this movie sucks. And nobody showed up for the most part to watch it a second time, and nobody showed up for the most part to see it in the first place based off of the word of mouth. So it broke another record of the biggest drop off.
Again, because the movie sucked.
Yeah.
So
well,
should
because
New
because most people thought the movie sucked. I'm not going to say the movie sucked or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm mixed about it, but yeah, most people said the movie sucked, and therefore most people didn't go to watch it. Like, I'll wait for it to come into DVD.
Yeah, understood. So if New Mutants gets bad publicity and criticized, then that would happen.
Exactly. So when it goes to Detroit first, like you said, and then to Chicago, if that was the order you gave it in, then all of a sudden it's like, less people are going to see it. Because mind you, this is only a 98-minute or so, 96 to 98-minute movie. So that's an hour and 38 minutes, 36 minutes.
It means you can show more showtimes when you're at the theaters. It's not no 2-hour thing. There's going to be like one more showing of that movie.
This is true, but and I get it. The Demon Bear, which this is based off of, was actually only 3 issues of a comic book. But when you're introducing characters who most of them, the vast majority of them, have never been introduced, you're doing an introduction and you're doing a story, and you can do this in just an hour and a half. Mind you, that includes credits, opening and closing.
Apply that standard to every other hour and a half movie ever. Like, they're brand new characters you're watching for an hour and a half. Why is it different just because these are comic book characters?
So I'm trying to think of movies. I wasn't expecting this, so I'm not thinking of movies.
Any movie, but you don't have to think of a specific movie. But
I'm trying to think of something that was an hour and a half. What was an hour and a half long movie?
Lots of stuff are an hour and a half. How long was that Page Wrestling movie with that The Rock produced? Wasn't that an hour and a half?
I didn't even watch that.
Toy Story 4 was an hour and a half. I watched that.
Oh, come on! Are you introducing characters in there? How many characters are you introducing?
Nope.
You know the main cast.
You're right.
The Page movie. How many people are you actually introducing? Paige. Like, maybe you get to know kind of her family, like on a first name basis, whatever. But you're learning. You already know. If you're watching this movie, you already know who Paige is. But if you're coming in and you're talking about like introducing a team of brand new characters, boom, that's a big deal. So
it can be done.
It can be, but will it?
I saw from the trailers, it looked great, and I thought I thought you didn't like it.
I thought it was okay. I'm like, whatever. Honestly, I looked at it as whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It was interesting. Come on, did you see the opening scene where Danny Moonstar is running?
Yes.
You didn't like that?
And I love Danny Moonstar, Mirage Psych, whatever you're gonna call her. Epic awesomeness woman.
She's got her handcuffs and she's in an institute, and we get to see. I mean, it's different from the actual New Mutants comic book, but it looked very good when I saw the digital effects that Ileana.
Yeah, how many? Yeah, because they've had plenty of time for Marvel to redo them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To try and make as much as they possibly can from it.
Absolutely.
That's great. So they're, of course, showing that, but I'm talking about the story. How many Look, Deadpool looked really, so-called Deadpool, looked really, the Merc without a mouth in Wolverine Origins 2 looked pretty cool with the eye beams coming. Those beams looked awesome. You know what I'm saying? And the Baraka claws, those actually looked kind of cool. But the story effing blew.
Does Deadpool actually have those powers?
No.
All right.
So it wasn't really Deadpool. So it's like, oh, the special effects look great. But that wasn't Deadpool. So why do you have Deadpool there? Why don't you just make it Baraka came in from freaking Otherworld and let's talk of that? You know what I'm saying? Like Mortal Kombat versus Wolverine. That's something I would pay to see. But Wolverine Origins, for the most part, sucked. The writing was horrible.
So I'd be upset if New Mutants depicted themselves with new powers. That would be BS.
Yes. Or just the idea that, like, whatever, like, honestly, whatever, it is what it is. I literally look at it as a lot of these movies have amazing special effects, but the movies for the most part suck. The Fox movies suck.
Mm-hmm.
So, like X-Men 1 doesn't hold up to the test of time. X-Men 2, I think, does.
You watch your mouth.
X-Men 1 was great when I saw it because what else was out there? You know what I'm saying? Red Brown in a motorcycle helmet as Captain America, which actually came out in 1970 and 1972, I think, respectively. But still, like what else was honestly out there? So yeah, X-Men was great, and there was a couple of really good scenes in there. Does it hurt? When they come out? Every time. Like it was a great crying moment because you know who Wolverine is and you could feel that pain. And then you relate that back to the Logan movie, which was actually a pretty good movie, but also a pretty good movie for Fox superhero movies. Their movies in general suck. That's something I'm willing to say. Most of their movies suck. Days of Future Past. It was actually supposed to be not Days of Future Past. The X-Men First Class, I think it was actually supposed to be for crying out loud, Magneto Origins. That was actually supposed to be the Magneto Origins movie. We were supposed to have a whole movie about Magneto. Instead, they did that instead, which they had some really good parts in it. I admit there was some pretty good stuff, but their movies usually suck. Graphics and special effects aside, their movies usually come out leaving you highly disappointed. And we're talking about they cut more than 20 minutes from this movie.
Just so they wouldn't have to CGI it, right? Just so they wouldn't spend all that money trying to make it better. That's
not usually how movies are cut. It's usually like this doesn't have anything to do with the story. Or we don't think it has anything to do with the story, let's cut it. And it turns out it takes away from the story too much. At the end of the day, you're talking about 20 minutes of I don't know, you're talking about 20 minutes worth of deleted scenes.
How much is supposed to be deleted in a movie usually?
It could be up to 20%. It depends on the movie. Because something's always going to be deleted because for the most part, editors have to show that they're doing their job. They have to justify their job. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you put a guy in charge of hiring and firing and he doesn't hire and fire somebody at least once a month, it's like, got to find somebody to fire. Otherwise, I'm not doing half my job. You always got to justify your job.
That's when it sucks to be a janitor.
Wow. that got taken a different direction. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know, man.
So I think it's a great movie to test the waters with because it's a free movie that Disney, you did not even invest in. It's just something that was filmed 3 years ago. What?
Well, there was some controversy on that. There was a trailer that was put out. Well, they put out the new trailer in Australia. And somebody on Reddit, check this out. I'm already telling you the ending right now. Somebody who's known for doing fake trailers took that trailer that only people in Australia, for the most part, saw because it was on TV. And then he added the Disney Plus symbol at the end.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that, right? So he did that on Reddit, and it's like, wait a second. So there's the big rumor, and of course, right away, all of these comic book news reporting agencies, if that's what they want to call themselves, jumped on that bandwagon. It's going to be coming to Disney Plus. And all of us were like, oh, that's great. Until I read the article, I'm like, you're full of crap. You don't know what you're talking about. And then I go and I start looking it up. And before they start apologizing and putting edits and, oops, edit to this article, update to this article, we were stupid. I'm looking, I was like, wait a second. This guy's known for doing fake trailers. So and nobody in the Reddit post, or in the Reddit thread believes him. So what is this? It would be great if it came straight to Disney Plus. I think it'd be fantastic if they did that, but they're going to try and make some money for it, whatever. And there's a bunch more with it. Josh Boone, who's the director, he actually gave his original New Mutants plan. He wanted Warlock to be in the first movie, but they couldn't.
The first movie.
Because
he was planning like a trilogy or something that didn't come to fruition.
He was planning a trilogy.
No, good for him, though. That's what you're supposed to do.
It is what you're supposed to do. But he wanted Warlock to be in the movie, but because of the budget, he's like, it was too expensive. That's the only reason why we had to drop it. So we were hoping that the first movie was going to be really good so that we can get a bigger budget, and then Warlock would be in the next two movies. Because the first movie is supposed to be what did he call it? The rubber reality horror movie, which I've never heard that term before, but basically it's the Demon Bear story. And then in the next movie, it was going to be an alien invasion where that's where you're going to meet Warlock. I guess the Phalanx come and all that good stuff. And then the third movie, here's where a lot of people are going to get super excited. But remember, this is a Fox movie.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be about X-Men's Inferno. Which, I guess you could do that. Why wouldn't you just make it into a Illyana origin movie where you can also incorporate Storm? Because that would actually work. But an Inferno movie, are you really going to get all the other people there? That's like the argument that a bunch of people who they didn't like that a bunch of people were a bunch of the Snyder Cut people, basically a bunch of the Zack Snyder people, didn't like the idea that so many people said that Batman vs Superman was booty. They're like, how could you say this is a bad movie? It's amazing. No. We're not saying it's a bad movie. We're saying it's a bad comic book movie because those aren't the superheroes that we read. Batman doesn't use guns. Superman isn't a murderer and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like this is and who's that monster that they're fighting? Because why is Abomination in that movie? Didn't the Hulk just beat him? Why is he in there? That's Doomsday? No, it's not. No, it's not. Even when they repaired it afterwards with the fan outrage, like, this is stupid. They're like, we better fix this. It still didn't look great. Even, with the evolution at the end, didn't look great. Anyway, there were a bunch of Snyder, loyalists who turned around. They started blasting Captain America Civil War, which was coming in about the same time, and blew that competition away. They said, "Oh, look,
1.5 billion."
Right? They said, "Oh, it's supposed to be," and that was over a long time, not just in the one first week where nobody knew if it was going to be good or not. It to this day is still considered a good movie. But they're like, "Look, 5 or 6 people on each side. Yeah, looks like a real war." It's like, are you stupid? They were getting so petty. They were like, "Look, here's Batman." Batfleck in his full costume. And thank you, Batfleck was just trending recently on Twitter, which is kind of cool. It's like, look, he's in full costume. Look at Tony Stark. He's got like outlines and stuff on, and then all the CGI stuff. It's like, I don't care what it looks like before the movie comes out. I want to see what the movie looks like. Like, what are you stupid? Are you really that petty? Yeah. The movie blew you away. Shut up. If you didn't make an argument, that you wouldn't have an argument for me to insult. You know what I'm saying? Like, face the fact that that superhero fans did not like, for the most part, the Zack Snyder movies. And that's just a fact. It was a brilliant and it was a beautiful movie, but it was not a good superhero movie. If you can't accept that is the opinion of most of society, it says more about you than it says about anybody else. So I'm going to say the exact same thing when it comes to Inferno, though. When you've got the X-Men Inferno, this was the original event that crossed over and had tie-ins and stuff like that for Marvel. Therefore, for any series, that was a big deal. And all of a sudden, you're going to make this movie and think that it's going to be great because why now? Because it's a Fox film? Nah, I wasn't going to be impressed with this. I knew I wasn't going to be.
So the fact that it's a Fox, the studio doesn't ever mean anything to me. It's more so the creative men behind it. So what? Okay.
No, because
now you're just ignoring the truth. Like, a producer, a screenwriter is what makes the movie the movie. The studio just gives you the budget.
Look at what happened, though, to Josh Trank.
Yeah.
Whether that was supposed to be a good movie or not, they put a new director in there, then they put another new director in there. That movie had 3 different directors, you could tell, because it had 3 acts. And nothing had to do with anything else that happened in the movie. Because Fox Studios is synonymous with the producers and everybody else coming in and saying, nope, we're taking over. So, yes.
That's a good example.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of the studio effing up with a movie. So
yeah, it's not about anything. It's about the studio. The studio sucked. I'm done.
Movies that have also been delayed, or that are being delayed, because New Mutants isn't, is Mulan, and the Star Wars movie that Taika Waititi that guy, the Thor Ragnarok
Taika Waititi, yep,
him,
the Thor Ragnarok guy.
It's happening a year later. It's like they know that this whole break is going to be really, really prolonged, and we're not going to be getting movie theaters for a while, because I don't know, man. I think mostly domestically in America. You guys, if you're listening and you're an American. New York, for some reason, the numbers have really, really dipped down, which, if I can put on my theory cap, I theorized that in February, in March, before we kind of flipped out and took it seriously. New York's an international city with an international airport. It probably made its way around the city. And by the time it got I
think LaGuardia is also international, not just JFK. So there's more than one international.
And it's freaking New York, right? So
and LaGuardia sucks. Just saying.
All right, but so like the rest of the country is feeling the effects of it, but I feel like New York already got like the worst of it. That's my theory. That's nothing to prove that, except for like
Florida got pretty bad too. Inland Florida. Not the not the coastal Florida, because there's
Yeah,
two different Floridas.
Because that's the part that people travel to. So I'm sure that was hit earlier on. And then since we started taking a break and started...
That one actually got better. It was the interior that didn't get better.
That's what I'm saying. It got better because everyone already had it back in January, February, when the disease existed, the virus existed. Anyways, I'm only bringing that stuff up so I can talk to you about movies that are being delayed.
Gotcha.
Disney predicts it. Disney knows something. Disney's like, all right, whole year, everything's moving back. Even the Fast and Furious franchise, they did that. Universal Studios, they did that 6 months ago or so. Like, it's almost like they knew that this thing was going to last very, very long.
Well, one of the reasons why I believe that they're doing this is because it costs a lot of money to advertise. So much of a budget goes to marketing. So when you say, "Oh, we're gonna do it for this time," and then delay.
Right. All that money advertising was for nothing. So you want to be sure.
But actually sending it to the movie theaters and whatnot, and the idea that it could get out. Because every time you do that, you know that when those reel-to-reel films actually go to the movie theaters, I used to work in a movie theater for 3 weeks. They actually have to pay, the movie theaters have to pay the theater for the film. And it's like leased for, I think it's a month. Usually it's a month, but there could be different contracts also. And say, hey, check this out. Boom. So we got this now. It's like, yes, but you're also signing up. If, we see your film, the copy of the film that we gave to you go out on torrent files or something like that, we're coming after you.
Oh yeah.
So that's a huge big deal where they're going to come after so it's a lot of money. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of contracts. It's a lot of manpower. So they're probably just looking at it as, listen, Disney is all about entertainment. And our entertainment, is mostly people showing up, like in Disney World. There are people showing up in Disney World and Disneyland to this day. The parks are still technically open. You know what I'm saying?
Not so bad. The lines are a lot smaller. All you have to do is wear a mask.
People are like, yeah, the lines are smaller. It's like, yeah, you're gonna die.
You're not gonna die if you're careful and you stay distant from people.
If you stay distant from people, but all it takes is somebody not being distant from you and somebody not being careful.
Remember, and also coughing on you and getting their droplets on you. Yeah.
Yes, somebody else wearing a mask protects you.
Right.
You know, saying you wearing a mask protects somebody else, not you.
Yeah, but also you got to keep your distance and no one's coughing on you.
So if somebody comes walking up and somebody's angry, you've seen people get mad at.
Yeah, there's like a 1% chance it can happen. Sure.
You're putting a figure on it. Cool.
Yeah, I'll put that 1% chance on that happening. Okay, my Star Wars thing is just, and I heard Journal Comics say this also, like I'm only going to be alive a certain amount of years. I want my Star Wars. So give it to me. Delaying it a year sucks for me.
For me, if I'm dead, I'm not going to miss anything, so whatever. I used to think like that when I was younger. Don't let me die before this movie comes out. It's like, when you die, the movie, like, what's it mean?
Yeah, but if you're dying, like you're on your deathbed and you're thinking, man, if that COVID thing didn't happen, I would have already seen that last movie because it would have been a year ago. That's the way I'm thinking of it. Darth Maul and Ray Park. Are you thinking about him?
First off, you just jumped the whole thing, man. Another thing that was delayed is Black Adam, which is pretty interesting. That Black Adam with The Rock, and nowadays that's mostly delayed because of The Rock, because this movie was originally slated for 2008. They were talking about that movie coming out in 2008. My God, man.
Ryan Reynolds was still Green Lantern in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were all just like, dude, this is going to be great. We're going to get The Rock. We signed him on for it. And so they're, of course, really big. Well, the reason why the movie can't be filmed right now is because of The Rock. He's busy with his schedule. Yeah, because the guy's still trying to make money. Just because he signed with you doesn't, like, at this point, he should be able to just say, listen, I'm out of the contract because you guys suck.
Yeah.
Say, I promised this 8 years ago. I'm not even interested anymore. Is he still The Rock anymore? Like, 2008 to now, that's 12 years ago. Like, that's not The Rock anymore.
That's DJ.
Right? That's Dwayne Johnson, man. But he's an old man. He's practically Rocky Johnson at this point. He's practically his dad. Dude's getting older. I don't want an old man, they always got the old man comic books. Old man Hawkeye, old man Quill, old man Logan. We're going to have old man Black Adam. Like, come on. Old man Teth Adam. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. By the way, that's his real name. I know you don't follow DC that much. Teth Adam from Kandahar. So anyway, that's being delayed again. Who knows when that's going to happen? Also, the Avatar movies. And they say that the person who's most upset about this is James Cameron, but I find that hard to believe because he's been delaying these movies since forever. Remember the first? I'm not talking about The Last Airbender. Screw that movie.
2009.
Yeah, the original Avatar movie.
A good movie.
Man, that was a really good movie. The first good 3D movie.
It did the opposite of what BVS did, where actually word of mouth helped making the next, I think, 2 weeks built the box office numbers. They got stronger and stronger. That never happens. Usually it's like a 50% drop from weekend 1 to weekend 2.
Yeah, you're not entirely wrong on that. Yeah, there are some exceptions. That has happened before, but yeah, you're right. It usually does drop off, over time. But yeah, this just increased it. It was a huge deal. It changed 3D movies forever. The reason why you have the option to get 3D now all the time is because of that movie. To this, like, it was so good that to this day, people are just like, boom. You know, the next big 3D movie that they promised?
What?
Was supposed to be Clash of the Titans.
Oh.
And it sucked. They were like, we're going to delay this this last month that we've got to do this. Let's put in some 3D scenes really quick. And they just did what every other 3D movie did, as opposed to Avatar, which was made for 3D.
You're right. That's the difference.
Yeah, as opposed to like throwing in a couple little scenes here and there, which I'm surprised that didn't just kill the freaking industry immediately afterwards. But
the beginning of every major movie is made for 3D, and then you forget all about it. Remember Episode 7, Force Awakens, where Kylo Ren stops that blaster in midair and the camera pans around it, and I was wearing my 3D glasses, and I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah. I mean, they never really utilized 3D after that.
At least in Clash of the Titans, it's like at the end, you see the Kraken does the whole thing, like he goes forwards, and it's like, oh, that was pretty cool, but they at least try to leave us off at a high note. But so the movies, there's
what else was delayed?
5 movies total. 5 parts of Avatar. The first one obviously already came out, and when you said part 2 is now slated for December 16th, 2020. 2022. December 16th, 2022. Yes, 2022.
Oh, and so Star Wars is 2023.
Is it? I don't know. Yeah. The third movie of Avatar is slated for December 20th, 2024. The fourth, December 18th.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, 2026. And the fifth movie and the final movie is December, which is actually, I think it's supposed to be a prequel, but whatever. December 22nd, 2028. Wow. These are movies that have just been constantly delays.
But if they're great, they're great.
About them. Maybe. Like if we want to see the remake of Fern Gully. Remember, this was a visual masterpiece. The storytelling, if you've seen any other movie for the most part, you've seen Avatar. It's the same thing over and over and over and over again since Dune.
You kind of knew he was going to fly on the big bird thing.
You knew he was going to, be Tarak Makta, saying, I will follow you. You knew that he was going to, he was going to wind up saving everybody. The white savior who became the tall blue savior. So you knew that all this stuff was going to wind up happening. You knew how this whole movie was going to play out. But there was great acting in it. In my opinion, there was great acting. The 3D effects on there were just out of this world. Even if it wasn't 3D, it still would have been like, wow, a beautiful movie. So everything just fit into place. You could just rehash somebody else's script and say, hey, it was the best trope movie ever made.
Darth Maul?
Okay, fine. Let's talk about Darth Maul. So Ray Park, man, there was a big controversy. That's right. I just went British. Controversy, where there's big controversy where Darth Maul was a hero for about 6 hours. Because Disney Plus was like, we've got all this stuff coming out with Darth Maul, man. We're going to have like a Darth Maul miniseries. We're going to have like Darth Maul. He's going to appear along with Anakin Skywalker is going to make an appearance in the Obi-Wan TV series that's coming out. There's going to be like all this with Darth Maul and that with Darth Maul. There was like 5 to 7 things, maybe 15 things, whatever. Like, there was a lot. There was a lot. They were going to be talking about Darth Maul. And we were like, yes. And then we saw his penis. Then Ray Park's Instagram. Apparently, Ray Park posted a picture of his wife, Lisa Park, filleting him. And what the hell?
He was hacked.
This? Well, nowadays they're saying that it was hacked. Here's the thing. This was the perfect storm of insanity.
Right.
As of Saturday, there's been several people reporting on, and I went and I looked, and sure enough, Ray Park, Lisa Park, telling people that no, this was a hack, this was not us. But first, like getting into it, like this got bad fast. He was trending on Twitter in a major way. People just disavowing him. The outrage, where the outrage culture was in full effect, which of course outrage culture always turns into cancel culture. This podcast just went and took a full loop on itself. This is the Aurora Boreas of podcasts, because we're back to cancel culture with Nick Cannon. So they got so outraged at this, hearing this news. I'm never gonna, let's recast him. What's his name? Ray Park. F this stuff. This guy's done this stuff before. He's a horrible person. He starts drunken bar fights at Comic Cons and stuff like that. It's like, whoa. So people bringing up that apparently, I want to say Daniel Boone, but I don't think that's really his name. That's, remember the Alamo. Daniel Logan. Daniel Logan. Apparently, it was supposed to be an image of her filleting Daniel Logan, who's apparently the young Boba actor, and he's been talking about, I'm really attracted to Lisa Park and stuff like that. Like, he never said it, but it was suggested. It was some innuendo there at the very least. Like, this got really messy.
Yeah.
So apparently somebody went and DM'd Lisa Park and then took a snapshot of the conversation. She said, yes, he's a sick person. He does stuff like this all the time. He's terrible. Please try and get it taken down, blah, 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 blah. Within 2 hours, it was taken down from the site. It showed up on Pornhub. The video actually showed up on Pornhub for a while. That was taken down. What happened? They had, oh my God, one of his kids apparently went on. And so of course, once they had that snapshot of supposedly that was Lisa Park, then that was one little thing. So they're saying, a lot of people have been DMing Lisa Park. So, because like one person suddenly becomes 1,000 people. It's like, come on, man. The way that these news sites, so-called news sites, report these things is insanity. A lot of people have been DMing her, and she's been telling all of them to, report it, to get it taken down, and that he's sick. One of his kids does a tweet, F my father, he's a horrible person. He beats us, he abuses us, we live in fear. He threatened to kill us, he threatened to sell us into child sex slavery and stuff like that. Like,
Whoa.
Like it got really dark.
Uh-huh.
And now, as of, hours, like when everybody wakes up in the morning, because this was late at night. Now, when everybody wakes up in the morning, and a little bit earlier because it's 5 hours sooner to us East Coasters, GMT, Greenwich Mean Time is 5 hours earlier for us. They wake up and they're like, wait a second, I did what now? So this so-called revenge porn and stuff like that. He's like, I didn't do this stuff. That wasn't me. I was hacked. Lisa Park is saying, I never sent those DMs. I don't know what people are talking about, those private messages in Twitter. It's a DM. I never sent those. I never talked with anybody about it. I was asleep. And my kids never posted anything. So what are you guys talking about? At this point, I'm up in the air and I'm like, I don't know what's going on anymore. This was
controversy.
Yeah, this manufactured controversy, The outrage was real though, but it was manipulated, and people are such good little lemmings. It's like, attack! Come on, man. You don't bother like actually looking at this stuff. You don't actually do any kind of research.
So
your
did that
research
cost
is
them anything?
10 different people said this, so I believe them. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of nonsense is that? That's not research. That's not what research is. That's listening to gossip and then just believing it. These are idiot-minded people.
They're idiots. How did this negatively affect Ray Park's career?
Well, we don't know.
All
Because, like, this is just being so-called... This hasn't even been resolved yet. Disney hasn't said anything about it, but, like, this is crazy.
Well, if the videos are being taken down, I like to think that some sort of corporation has that sort of pull to be like, none of this. So maybe Disney is looking out for him, and they do have his best intention. Maybe they have him in a future project coming up.
No, those videos, that video of the filleting could have been a deep fake porn. Because remember, we've got deep fake now. That exists.
All right, yeah, he's good then.
Well, he's potentially good. The problem is that when an accusation is made against a man, all of a sudden, you've got a lot of splaining to do.
No, but
and you better,
explained it now.
No, that's not done, because there's still people like, no, I don't believe it. because all this
Who cares
different
what they think?
reporting
The
and
truth
such
is out there, whether they believe it or
because
not.
if popular opinion is no, screw this, then
Popular
then they're
opinion
not going
is
to do it.
still screw Ray Park. Is that still the popular opinion?
Well, we don't know yet. Like I said, it's too soon. This has just been cleared up. Like as the time that we're making this podcast,
Okay.
about 6 hours, no, actually about 12 hours prior.
Saturday.
That's when, 12 hours prior to when we're doing this is when the first takedowns and, like, oh, dude, no, this didn't happen. The first time that the parks have actually addressed this, So,
Yeah, so it takes like 2 years to make a movie. By the time it comes out, I believe we'll be good.
maybe. We don't know. Well, it's nice to assume that when you're not the one who was under the gun, like this was a coordinated attack.
Sure.
Like they were waiting for some kind of news because they didn't just come up with this stuff. They were like, we've got a couple of different people who we're gonna, try and ruin just to see if we can, because it's a game to us. It's lives for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Park has been trying hard and pushing, not even for Toad. Screw Toad. He's like, no, Darth Maul. That's what people want to see. Let's do this. So people have been pushing for it, and they've been going crazy for it. So apparently he's one of the people. They were like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's get some stuff together. So they manufactured this whole cheating thing. He thinks that his best mate is trying to sleep with his wife and his wife has been having an affair on the down low and such over there. And look, they made this deep fake porn, and I don't know anymore. This was coordinated, I got to admit, really well. It was orchestrated very well. So I don't know what to think.
You know what happens to celebrities like Ray Park?
What at?
The same thing that happens to everybody else. You get that? That was lame.
Yes, I was really there. You know what happens to a toad who is struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everybody else. Good job there, Holly Berry.
Let's wrap it up with Hellstrom.
Oh, Hellstrom is a TV show done by Jeff Loeb. It's the final of the Jeff Loeb productions, and for the most part,
I won't be watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just put the trailer out for that. It's a Comic-Con thing. We didn't talk about any of this stuff in Comic-Con because who cares?
Talked about everything that needed to be talked about.
Yeah, because who cares? Like the Comic-Con's still going on. Most of the stuff is like if you want to see how to build a Lego crossbow, how to grow your own kryptonite, how to make a mask for COVID, conspiracy theories and propaganda in pop culture, and all the Starfleet ladies. Which actually I watched that and it wasn't good. It was not good. None of them were actually there. It was just fans talking about the favorite Star Trek ladies, and I could do that anytime I want. Like
you're not even a lady.
I'm not even a lady, but I can still talk about that anytime I want. They did, however, have the thing for Joe Quesada's Marvel storyboards, which actually looks pretty good. The first guest that one of the guests he's supposed to have in season 1 is Logan.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
I watched that on YouTube already. It was like a 15-minute interview where he's chit-chatting with him. That was cool.
Yep. So it was actually pretty cool. Yeah. So that was the start. The first episode showed up on Disney Plus and all that good stuff, whatever. Boom. So we're just going to, that's what's and they already have the guests for season 2 that they announced. So that was pretty cool. But aside from that, Comic-Con is whatever. But one of the things they did at Comic-Con was this trailer for Hellstrom. And they just did Peter Gabriel cover of a song, which actually sounded really good, and it was the best part of the trailer. Basically, it's like I said, it's the Jeff Loeb universe. They're the guys who brought us
everything. Not
the Inhumans, the Inhumans. Which
so did Joe Quesada say in this Comic-Con that it's all in the same universe? You're just not going to see Iron Man flying above you, but it's part of the Marvel universe. He didn't say that this time.
He didn't even get into it at all. No,
he did that like 2013 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was expecting that it was all going to be coordinated, but
and then they made a show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D. and Winter Soldier. Yes, and then it ruined it changed a lot of things. Like I said, Feige couldn't deal with Loeb because Loeb is apparently a really hard person to deal with. It is what it is, and it goes higher than that too. There was a big Ike Perlmutter.
Controversy. Ike Perlmutter was the biggest one to deal with, so Disney squashed him. He's a title. That's all he is apparently at this point. He's a title.
He's a title and a will.
he's a legacy to be had.
Yeah, he's estate. That's rude. That's very rude to say because watch him die and then I'll be like, oh shit. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. I retract that and I apologize.
I don't know. I wouldn't feel bad about Mussolini dying. Am I comparing him with Mussolini? I don't know. King Leopold II? I don't know. But Regis I'm saying Philbin. In general. Regis Philbin. What's that one?
Oh, he recently passed.
Regis Philbin died?
Yeah, that's
Oh, I didn't even notice
Professor
that.
Bill's live reaction, everybody. So if you're into that kind of stuff. I mean, he was 88 years old, so I don't know, maybe I'm different, but I tend not to get
Dan
too
Lee
like
was in his
upset.
90s. Shut up.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know that much. But I used to watch a couple of his Regis and Kelly and Regis and Kathy Lee before that and stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay.
A lot of
whatever.
good memories. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I like his voice.
He was really good with wrestlers. I'll say
Yeah.
that. He used to give credence. He used to give good, like when Ultimate Warrior came on with his terrible acting, he really sold the Ultimate Warrior. Meanwhile, like when he would come on Arsenio, he'd just be like, it's like, okay. Arsenio was a great interviewer, but not when the wrestlers came on. Regis was the guy you wanted to go on his show to promote wrestling events. So
Nice.
yeah, I think he was at like a WrestleMania or 12. Like, yeah, he was actually a fan. Kathy Lee
Nice.
was the one who'd be like, whatever. Better than a John Stossel. I just want to ask you the standard question. Pow! I can't hear anymore. Screw you, John Stossel, to this day.
What do you do?
He started trash. He started
Oh,
trash. He's
God.
trying to get a stupid report, but but the stakes were, I'm going to ruin a company's reputation who's just
nothing
trying
wrong with
to do a business.
nothing wrong with asking questions.
Really?
Nothing wrong with
Then
asking
maybe he
questions.
should have gone out and actually asked real questions to politicians instead of wrestlers. That's not the industry you're trying to bring down.
Yeah, you got a microphone. You're allowed to ask whatever you want to ask for. Yes, he should be asking these politicians real, true questions. But he's asking a wrestler about the only thing that really matters in wrestling is whether it's real or fake.
When he said beforehand that he was not going to, that was the one question he would not ask. He was
Yeah, I
said,
guess.
don't ask that question.
Well, he asked.
And this was even the second time. Yeah. And he got his ass beat for it. And unfortunately, he got paid for it and he shouldn't have.
No, he definitely should get paid if you get slapped in the ear and lose hearing. Or he says he lost hearing. Either
He
way.
says he lost hearing. And then he also laughed about it in that one.
All right,
Dark
whatever.
Side
He
of the
got
Ring.
slapped in the ear, even if he didn't
He
lose
laughed
hearing.
about it and he said, I didn't get hurt. No, he sued and
you
said
got
I
slapped.
lost hearing.
You got slapped on live
No,
TV.
no.
Oh,
He
What do you mean? No.
said,
When you get slapped and there's video proof of you getting slapped, then you deserve to be compensated for it. I don't care what you agreed to.
but
about
you don't
what
get
question
paid
you
the
asked.
same thing. If I hurt somebody,
Yeah.
if I punch somebody or I slap somebody and it's just a red mark on the cheek, that's going to be a very different punishment than I slap somebody and suddenly I'm permanently hearing loss.
Right.
There's a
right.
huge difference because you're suing for damages. Chill. Come on, man.
I don't
I'm
think that.
saying he sued and said, I lost hearing in both of my ears and I have headaches all the time. And as
So-
soon as he got the paycheck, he laughed about it. Oh, I wasn't hurt. Whoa. So you admit that you lied in court. Holy crap. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
And he
and I'm
laughed about it.
I'm looking at it as he deserves, because I'm not going to put a cap on how much money you should earn for
I
getting
will.
slapped in the face.
I will. If there was
All right.
no injuries, if you're
So
just
what's-
being a punk, if you started
let's-
trash.
Let's put a price on it. So, what was the deserved compensation he should have gotten?
I don't know, but if you walk into a bar and you start some trash with somebody, and
Well,
get
you
your
just
ass
said you
beat,
knew. You
get
just
what
said
the-
you would put a price on it. Now you're saying I don't know.
Yeah, I said I would. That's
All right.
hypothetical.
Now, what would you put a price on for a slap that he received?
I would say screw it. Send the guy to jail, just like any other thing. Send the guy to jail for like a week or something. Have his bail bondsman, whatever. I don't know. Send the guy to jail and have a trial about it, as opposed to this nonsense.
Yeah, but how does that
Did
help
even
me?
go
I
to
just
trial?
got
Screw
slapped in my
you.
face.
You got a slap in the face and nothing
Yeah.
happened to you. Who cares?
Yeah, I want something out of that slap in the face. I don't care if he goes to jail. I also want
Good.
help.
So now answer
gonna
my
sue-
question. Now
yeah.
answer my question. If
But you didn't
walk
answer
into a
my
bar to
question
start-
though.
I just got finished, and you know what? We're gonna let the audience decide that. Chill. If you walk into a bar and you start some trouble,
Right.
and you start a bar fight and people beat you up,
In a
what
bar.
are they gonna?
Yes,
yeah, in a
that's
bar.
a bar setting. But if you're in an interview setting, let's use the actual
No,
example.
no,
for-
no, 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 no.
Why
They
not?
didn't go to a studio. They went to Madison Square. I think it was in
Sure,
Madison
they went to
Square Garden.
Madison Square
They
Garden. He
went
was
to wherever
told
they
not
were.
to ask
This
this
was-
question. He
And
asked
this was
it
a
anyways.
wrestling setting.
And
There
he
were
was wrong to
wrestlers.
ask
This
it.
was while they were in the middle of what they were doing and everything. Like he was just about to go out to a match. Like these are people who are actually in the mode. No,
Understood.
So
No,
it
you're
wasn't a
when you're
journalistic
in a
setting.
match, you're not in the mode to actually punch someone unless you're Nia Jax. But-
good one.
So when he was in the setting and he asked
Mhm.
in Madison Square Garden, wrestling is fake. He asked that question. He
Mm-hmm.
was wrong for doing it. His punishment should be
No. And you know what? Even worse, he did. You're even miscalculating that.
Go
Or
ahead.
you're misrepresenting that. He says, "I'm going to ask the standard question. I think wrestling's fake." So where's the question?
Okay, he was wrong for even
He
putting
was
it that way. He
purposefully
wanted a
trying
reaction.
Yeah, exactly. So don't give me that.
I'm not
If I
giving you
walk
anything.
up
I'm
and
acknowledging the
I start,
truth.
I'm not touching, and you slap me, I get
Right.
to sue you. Yeah,
It's not the same
technically,
thing at all.
in this
But okay.
week, no, it kind of is.
So he
Sticks and
asks
stones and all that.
he asks the statement. I think wrestling is.
Alexandria
Oh God.
Ocasio-Cortez. Oh
Yes.
God, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I'm
just
not
went into
oh-godding
this big,
Alexandria
long
Ocasio-Cortez.
thing.
I'm oh-godding that you're not
oh-godding
letting me
me.
finish.
She just went into this big long thing
I saw about an hour. Yep.
Yeah, about this guy called a woman a bitch. I don't think it has anything to do with men versus women.
No, it definitely does. Women get called bitch all the time. I don't want to argue that though. But
And guys get
yes.
guys get called things all the time too, and that's okay.
Yeah, but not bitch. Which bitch is kind of like for the women. It's finish your point though. Yeah, AOC. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You can call a guy a bitch too, and
You can.
guys get called bitches, and does that mean more or less?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worse or is it not as bad? Like,
Yeah,
are we putting a price tag on that now?
Yeah. I want to
Like
get back to Madison Square Garden.
go
So
ahead,
you
go
brought up
back to Madison Square
AOC.
Garden. Go ahead, go to Madison Square Garden.
So he was wrong for asking the statement. I think wrestling's fake, but so he should be never giving an interview again in Madison Square Garden. The WWE should blackball him. That's his comeuppance. Let's look at what happens once he gets slapped. That's a new ball game. This is elevated to a new case. As wrong as I was for A, B, the slap in my face was also wrong. I deserve to be compensated for it.
Compensated.
I deserve something for it. I deserve.
Compensation is for damages, Chillmonger.
You were damaged.
Compensation is for damages.
You were damaged.
He was not damaged. He laughed about it.
Mm-hmm.
He said it went away as soon as I cleared that paycheck.
Getting slapped is a damage. Then instead of using the word compensation, how about I just talk in like basic English?
Sure.
I was hit.
An assault.
I deserve something.
An assault happened. What happens if you assault somebody, Chillmonger?
Shouldn't you get paid?
Chillmonger, what happens if you go out and you assault somebody?
You go to jail?
Yeah. The police are involved. You go to jail.
No.
They take you away, and then you go to a trial. That's what happens. So that's not what happens.
So the wrestler
here.
should get taken to jail and go on trial. Now who was given a press pass, who was given a promise of safety,
No, there was the assumption of safety. That's different. We need Sterling in here. There was the assumption of safety. There's no promise.
There's an understanding generally that I was in this safe area where I could be asking questions. Anyways, I was hit. Yes, that guy did assault. Yes, that guy should be punished. But I was hit. I deserve something for it also. It's one thing to punish, which definitely should have happened. It's another thing to say that he shouldn't have gotten paid. I'm saying he should get paid, and I was asking you to put a price on it because I just can't put a level of money.
I don't think he should have got there. There's my answer. I don't think he should have gotten paid anything for it.
Okay, understood.
Because payment is for compensation is for injury. He was not injured. He got a little slap on his face. So what? Deal with it. I also look at this outside of the courtroom. If you, just like you said with walking into a bar, if you walk in and you start a fight with somebody.
I didn't say that.
You said if you walk in and you start a fight in a bar.
I didn't say that. You brought up the bar stuff. I was trying to keep it strictly to the actual scenario.
Okay, so whatever. Look, if you walk up and you start a fight with someone, you can start a fight with somebody in a lot of different ways. You don't get to choose the reaction that somebody has. You could try and provoke a reaction, and there's a lot of people who do that. I'm also going to look at the idea of this. John Stossel is a scumbag because now here's a big difference. Difference between you and Dr. D, who actually hit Dr. D.
Dr. Death.
Dr. Death, yeah. Anyway, so if you slap somebody as opposed to, like, let's say Dr. D hits somebody, you don't have a big corporate name like the WWE behind, or WWF, back in the day behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is like the difference.
So the money should come out of my pockets.
Even more. I'm going to take it, yes, but I'm also going to take it a step further. Because the money didn't come out of Dr. D's pockets. He laughed about it also. He's mad about it because he lost his job, but he's a bounty hunter now, so who cares? He looks at it as, and I look at it as, if you get hit by a passenger car, or let's say you accidentally hit a passenger car. Oh, I was driving. Oops, I missed something. Or maybe it's actually this person's fault, but like he jumped in front of me and oops, I accidentally wound up hitting him because he jumped the gun. And technically he legally had the right of way, but like he hesitated. So I was supposed to go and, it's his fault, but it's going to be a my fault thing because nobody was videotaping the whole thing. Okay, now How much trouble are you going to get in? You know what I'm saying? You get some points on your license, whatever. But what if you were driving a Coca-Cola truck? Now suddenly this person who you hit, all of a sudden they're seeing dollar signs. Wait a second. See, and that's a difference also. This guy, John Stossel, scumbag from beginning to end. And things like that should be taken into account also. That's just my take on it. It's also my hot take that when Hulk Hogan was with the one guy from Law and Order, that guy shouldn't have gotten a penny of compensation. You remember that one interview when Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, right before WrestleMania, and there's this guy who's a talk show. You should really look it up. He puts him in a front face lock, and the guy winds up going unconscious.
I saw that. Right.
Yeah, he jumps like this, and then he Hulk Hogan's like, what? And he like releases him, and he just bloop falls right out. He's like, oh shoot.
No, Hogan's like, he'll be all right.
He's like, yeah, because he was on camera, and what do wrestlers always learn? They always learn, oh no, finish the match. You know, saying play it off, kayfabe, whatever. So he's literally just like, oh, he'll be all right. And then afterwards, all of a sudden, that's when the guy comes up and is like, now, do you think it was okay that you did such and such and such? Wait a second. But now that's if you watch a clip. But if you watch the whole entire thing, he told him, I think wrestling's fake, blah, blah, blah. Put me in a hold. Let me see how real this is. So he's like, okay, so he told him to do it. He told him to do it. Sorry, that's called permission.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even like it was a slug. He didn't punch him or anything like that.
Right.
So he's just like, and I got to get my wrestler voice. And he's like, all right, brother, you want to see something? Come over here. I'm going to give you a standard hold. This is called a front face lock. So you hold somebody here, but if you put a little bit of pressure, and just for a second, he put that pressure, and you could see it. You could see the reflexes in his shoulder. You know, he's just like, he leaned back just for a second, not even 2 seconds, and he went back forward again. He slacked his arms, but you right away see the other guy, this punk, this coward. You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Arr!" And then afterwards, like, oh, I'm going to sue because he hurt me and blah, 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 blah. And Mr. T was in the background, and he was talking about, nah, hurt him, jack him up, give him something to think about. And then Hulk Hogan was like, nah, it's cool, brother, it's cool. You know, and it's like, wow, but this guy's able to sue because here's this big guy, and he should have known better. You told him you wanted to know what it was like to be in that maneuver. So, but after the Dr. D thing,
well, those
right
are
away,
two separate. Okay, yeah.
No, they're not, because in courts, that's called a precedent.
Did he ask to be slapped? All right, then. That's different.
You're assuming that you're right, and you're 1,000% wrong, if that's even possible, because it's called a precedent. It happened immediately afterwards, and the judge took that into account. It's known in the records. He took that into account. He actually said, after this whole thing with, Dr. D slapping this guy, in this other court, I've got to look at it as we've got to make a statement. We've got to make sure that there's a precedent set that wrestlers need to calm themselves down, man.
Well, the judge was wrong for that.
Yes, he was, and you were wrong for your assessment that you just made. I have spoken. Yeah,
Myself?
That's right. You, Chillmonger.
Well, but I'm calling out the judge for being wrong.
Oh yeah, now you are.
But I'm correct for saying that it's a different situation because in one case
I was arguing precedents.
Right. I didn't know that until you finished your sentence.
That's the difference between you and I cutting each other off. I know what you're going to say before you say it. There's my prescience. That's prescience as opposed to precedence. Oh my God. We've been going for an hour and a half, bro. And I am, like I said, like it says in my title here, I am sick as a dog, dude. Wow, I am sick. So yeah, my patience at an end. But I think that we got a good podcast out of this because we actually had some differences of opinions. It's about damn time. I'm sick and tired of agreeing with you, man. I'm sick of agreeing with you. You know what? The sky's green. You know why? Because you probably think it's blue. You're wrong, Chill. You're wrong.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week, episode 26. Next week, we'll talk about whatever the news is.
Yeah, because we don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. Hopefully, I won't be quite as sick though. So otherwise, you'll be doing it with freaking comic.
You want to disagree about one more thing? The Doctor Doom Fantastic Four X-Men stuff.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I saw your review. You liked that, didn't you? I guess you saw mine.
Yeah, and you thought Doom was acting like a wussy or something.
He was punked.
See, he thinks he's better than these guys, so he's looking at himself as I am not someone who goes on other people's soil. You guys are uncivilized and you're entering that area. I don't think that of him as being walked all over and like a loser. I thought he was, in his mind, I'm better than these guys. Look at me. I'm not going to stoop to their levels. That's how I interpreted him.
He had these brand new Sentinels, the Latvian Sentinels.
Leviathans.
Like, I'm sorry, were they actually a threat? Did they feel like a threat? Because I think that Zdarsky looked at it as it took Franklin Richards using his god power to get rid of them. But the X-Men didn't look, or the Fantastic Four, they didn't look like they were, oh my God, we're dying out here. I didn't read any of that. I didn't see it in the art. I didn't feel like they were actually in any kind of a threat.
There was a big page where you could see that they were being occupied.
There
They
was a
weren't
fight.
cleaning house against
I saw that there was a fight. That's
yeah,
what
there
I
was
saw.
a fight, right.
That was when they first showed up. Yeah, they're not going to waste them in a first second.
I guess
Those
all of your prior knowledge of what Sentinels are capable of was supposed to pay.
Big time. Like,
So he did use Sentinels, which have been known to be a threat, except he didn't show them being a threat because he understood that you're supposed to understand they're supposed to be a threat. So one page of it is enough.
you know what? Like, there's so much there that the idea that they could be a threat, I didn't feel like it was.
And they needed Sue to leave because Sue, we need your help. This is an emergency. We can't do it with the X-Men alone. We got to combine with your powers also. I thought that highlighted how much of a threat the Latviathans are.
I'm glad you thought that, but if the bulk of the readers didn't think that, and the bulk of the readers simply did not think
You're
that.
the bulk of the readers? Okay.
Wow, that was pretty presumptuous of you. Look at
What did you mean?
Look at a bunch of the other reviews that are out there.
I did not see anyone else's. Okay.
I'm looking at the written reviews because it's easier for me to just read through people's reviews. But the bulk of the reviews are saying this didn't feel like a threat.
Who's a good written reviewer?
I don't remember a bunch of different people's names and whatnot, but like there's I go to sometimes I'll actually do my own written reviews on Comic Book Roundup, because they'll take like all the different reviewers that are out there and they'll just post them there. So Comic Book Roundup themselves don't actually do anything except allow these things to be posted. So there's the main, like the big corporate companies like, CBR and whatever. And then there's me, who gets to be a fan who comments on the stuff. So they have, the big time reviewers, and then they have me, people like me. So, and anybody could just jump up and do their own review. And looking at both, most people didn't see them as being a particular threat. And it was built up as this big Doctor Doom has Sentinels. So it's not even just the idea of Sentinels. It's like Doctor Doom, one of the smartest SOBs ever. Maybe they'll have like Sentinel magic also because he used magic. Who knows what it's Doctor Doom. And it's like, what did Doctor Doom actually do in this? He didn't do much of anything. He made fun of Wolverine in the previous issue.
Mm-hmm.
Twice. Nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. Like nothing of significance happened in this.
He collected
he completely got the idea of the difference between phasing and density manipulation wrong. And I've covered this on my my very long review of the comic book. Like, phasing is not density manipulation just because two things look alike. That's like, you might as well say that Cyclops has laser beams out of his eyes because it looks like bright glowy things. It's actually concussive beams. So, right? Like, every fan knows that. Every fan gets, Gail Simone especially knows. You can make fun of, you can get fans pissed off just by saying that they're laser beams or heat vision,
Yeah. Does he actually call Kate's powers density manipulation?
Yes. Because if you take it the other way, if I use your powers in the opposite direction, you get you get denser, and therefore you're heavier, and blah 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 blah. And it's like,
yes.
That's not what phasing does. That's
the opposite of phasing.
It's not the opposite of what phasing does. Like, it's not. Like, this is physics.
The opposite of phasing would be like hitting something, right? Like, if I was Kate Pride, my hand wouldn't have clapped just now. It would have just went through it.
I would say that if you were really take it theoretically, you could say that the opposite of phasing would be slipping into other dimensions. That's what I would argue. I'm glad that you brought that up because I didn't even think of what the opposite of phasing would be. It would be, instead of slipping through physical, things, would be slipping through almost metaphysical barriers.
And I would say the opposite of phasing is touching.
Because that is one of the, it's not, that's just not phasing. Because remember, it's not just a light switch. The world isn't a light switch, it's a dimmer switch. But that was her ability to phase is actually the reason why in the comic books it was Kitty Pryde who went back in time in Days of Future Past, as opposed to the movie where it's like, no, let's just send Wolverine because he's a higher paid actor. Yeah. Controversy averted.
No, we took it down. Thanks for listening. I'm Chillmonger. He's Professor Bill.
I am. And he is. And subscribe to Chillmonger. Subscribe to me too, because why not? Why wouldn't you? But definitely subscribe to Chillmonger. Look, like this is the stuff that we do, and every so often I appear on his channel, try and get a chill slap going on.
You want to do 33 questions coming up?
You want to do another 33? I'll do a 33 questions with you. Absolutely. The 33 burning questions. I don't even want to know what it's about. Surprise me. Shock me.
MCU.
Oh, yeah. I usually do about MCU, but like, okay, whatever. Yes. I don't want any hints. Just, yeah, hit me with it. Yeah, we'll do that. Sure. All right.
You heard it here first, guys.
You did. And talk to you guys later. Professor Bill and Chillmonger. Comic Book University. Class dismissed.